Sunday morning, September 26th, and want to get down this video of what the thoughts are and what the concept is as far as the renovation of 2914 Spanish Trail. So, after the last 2 weeks, I've been talking to different contractors and, kind of forming different ideas of what should go on here. And my feeling is I like the shape of the driveway, but we're thinking to put in maybe a knee-high wall that would incorporate the mailboxes and maybe even a little lantern on each side or something thereabouts. Right now, these are both 3-bedroom, 2-bath duplexes, and we only have 4 parking spots. It's just simply not enough, especially if we're going to run this like an Airbnb. So my idea is that the knee wall will be about 3 foot high, and it'll come down the front perimeter. We'll have a return or a 90-degree L shape on the very end. That'll help it be more structural and rigid, because with the rain and the hurricanes and everything, these walls do eventually tip over. But if you do a return, even a short return, maybe 3 foot, something like that, then it doesn't fall over so early. Now over here, I like the rounded idea. I think we should round off and then step down into the grass, right? And then if you can envision a lantern or some sort of a lighting fixture on top, and maybe a slot for the mailbox. And again, we're gonna duplicate both sides, right? So my idea is that as you come in the driveway, and this grass will all be excavated out, and you'll park on an angle, right? And if you park on an angle, we could push these parking spaces all the way up towards that banana tree. You can only go about 5 foot from the property line. So if we go with concrete, about 5 foot from the property line will be about here. Okay? But imagine this, instead of being straight, being on an angle. Okay? So you come in, and you'll have one parking spot almost not at the banana tree, it'll be a little to the right. So you'll have 1, 2, and try to imagine this grass being removed, and 3. Okay, so you have 3 parking spots on this side, and we'll use that lantern right there, that electric, to feed the electric on the new wall. Okay, and then the same thing with over here. All right, this is all wasted. So you come in, the wall finishes, and you have angled parking spots. And we'll push out a little towards the property line as far as we can go. We'll go to that 5 foot, and this will all be concrete parking lot, okay? Then, for the front of the house, my idea is get rid of all of these bushes. Get rid of all of this stuff, all right? And see the way it is right now, how it's kind of circled inwards? My idea is to remove all of this and have a little rounded out area here, maybe about 12 foot from the house, that can be used for like a table and chairs, all right? And instead of it being the same height as the parking lot, we'll raise it. We'll make it about 3 inches higher, so nobody ever thinks that they could park on it. The parking spaces will be over here, and this will be purely for like sitting outside and, whatever, having a glass of wine or whatever. Right in the middle, I'd like to have some separation. So my idea was to mimic the wall that we're going to put in front. Okay, same material, same look, same everything, and we'll do a slight partition, right? Maybe 3-4 foot out from the house, maybe even 5 foot out from the house, and we can use it to put seasonal plants in, right? So summertime we could put some stuff in there. Wintertime, when things, the colorful stuff will live, we could put that in there. It's cheap. and it takes away all this landscaping nonsense, because right now it looks like crap. So so we'll make this into what I'm going to refer to as the bistro area, right? We're going to make it into a little thing where both properties can have maybe a little table and chairs where they could sit out, and there's just enough separation that it's a duplex, but not enough to separate it where it looks like, like apartments or something. We don't want that. We want this whole building to appear to be one big house, right? But we want to separate it a little bit just for privacy's sake. And then my next thought is that as we go around the back, I'm proposing we do a 5-foot wide cement walkway, all right? Now, the front of the house should be a 6-inch pour, as we discussed, because this is going to get traffic and cars are going to be parking on it and whatnot. But we don't need anything that heavy going back, because it's just going to be a walkway. So I'm thinking a 4-inch pour, about 5 foot from the house. We'll do a whole 5-foot stretch here. All right, we'll get rid of all these trees, get rid of all of this nonsense. This one's like growing onto the house, and so we got to get rid of all of that. We're going to paint and we're going to do all of that on the house too. But the reason I want to do 5 foot, why I feel it's important, is because we have an AC compressor right here, and we have this this little step out from the master bedroom. So my feeling is we need to replace this concrete pad, because as you can see, the AC is already tilting, and the more it tilts, the more, not right away, not tomorrow, but eventually those bearings and that fan motor, it's going to wear, because it's not supposed to sit on a tilt. It's supposed to be perfectly flat. It should be level. And this pad is so old, so we would have to suspend the AC and pour underneath it, and of course pour a new slab here. All of this will be excavated out, because there's no way to incorporate old cement with new cement. It'll always crack and shift and move. It'll never stay correct. It'll be a tripping hazard in a year or two. So we start fresh with everything. The cement should come around, and as we get back here, my thought is nice sized patio, okay? And again, we'll remove those patio blocks from behind the screen, remove all of these bushes, and we'll wrap the walkway, and it'll all become part of a nice big patio, all right? And I think what we should do is, if we have a patio here, I think we could put, space here or somewhere over here, let's say, for maybe a barbecue, all right? But it doesn't matter. We could always find a place for that. It doesn't really matter. But the reality is that if we have a patio back here, then we could put table and chairs for each unit. And here's where the privacy comes in. I'm thinking somewhere between the two units, right in here, maybe we do like just a simple 10-foot board-on-board fence, just to give it some separation. We can't run it into the house because we have the FP&L meters, so we could stop it right there, kind of like where that bush ends. And there's always room for the FP&L guys come and read the meters. And if the tenants, let's say we have both properties rented, the tenants now have their separation. They may hear each other speaking, they might both be out here at the same time with the table and chairs or whatever. But the idea is that it's separated, and they don't have to look at each other, and then there'll be a little bit of room around the back to walk around, so when the landscapers are here and whatnot, it's accessible. And then my idea is just to mimic everything we did on the A side to the B side. And we do everything all over again over here. I'm getting estimates now to trim the trees, because they are just way overgrown. So what I asked my guy to give me an estimate for was to trim these back considerably and cap them off at about 25 foot high, because they are so high right now that if we get a good storm, these things are coming down. They're just too high. And one thing about trees and hurricanes, if you can't see through them, then the wind can't get through them either, which means they'll get pushed down, they'll fall. So these trees need to be cleaned up considerably, and these bushes need to be cut down considerably. Right now they're probably up as high as 10 and 12 feet. So I'm gonna angle towards about 6-7 foot. I mean, if we can get it at 7 foot and it looks low enough, we'll leave it at 7 foot. But there's a lot of stuff back here that needs removing. This is gonna be a couple of days of work. We might even have to rent a chipper to get rid of all of this material, which probably makes sense because the cost of running this material to the dump is gonna be excessive. So I'm thinking when we have the guys out here to do it, we'll actually rent a chipper and have them chip it all up, so this way they could take it away with one load, maybe two. Now, the other thing I don't think I mentioned on the other side is by having a 5-foot walkway, there's room for the garbage cans, there's room for the recycle, the AC compressor sits on it, and then the walkway out of the master bedroom all gets incorporated. It'll make the property look a lot bigger, this type of a job, and it'll make it a lot more accessible. The curb appeal is going to be fantastic. It's going to look real sharp. I've been driving around the neighborhood taking pictures of different properties that I like. My feeling is we got to get this property out of the 70s and into 2021, 2022 look. But yeah, that's pretty much my concept for it. And then we'll talk more about the finishes on the outside and the colors on the outside of the property. But right now, the big job, the really big job, is going to be this concrete driveway, the patios around the back. That's going to be the real money. It's going to be pricey, it's going to be extensive, but it's going to really make a lot of difference on this property, and it's going to make it super valuable, you know. So, you know, we have it. You know, the accessibility. The city of Delray did say something to one of the guys about they might be putting sidewalks in here, which would be fantastic for us, because that's really what this block needs. It needs sidewalks, and if they do, that means this little wall would be up against sidewalks, which would be a win-win, because then the chances of somebody hitting it with a car or backing into it or something are lessened, you know. So that's another thing. But for the most part, those are my thoughts, and I just wanted to visually go over them with you. Okay, talk to you soon.